students that witnessed police pulling up to a middle school here in Kalamazoo, and this is their question. What would you do differently to create school improvements that would remove the need for police officers to come into the school?
So a lot of the questions you're asking are specific, and one of the things that I truly believe that is going to address most of those things is establishing true community. When we can come together as a community and fill in those gaps where we think the police need to do or these housing things need to happen, if we can't develop true community, then all these things we're talking about don't make no sense, because they're driven by policy, they're driven by ordinances, and what we're talking about is human beings. Policies can't love human beings, ordinances can't love human beings, and so if we can't create true community in our city, we won't see these issues be taken care of. Parents get involved at school, right? Creating that process. So one of the bigger things that I want to do when it comes to collaborating is bringing all the resources we have to the table, churches, businesses, residences, the city, together so we can develop that sense of community, right? When you have true community, when you have neighbors looking out for each other, having each other's backs, what happens? It's a safer place. When you start to teach your kids morals about not bullying kids, right? What happens? It becomes a safer place, right? When we can speak out against the injustices that are happening in our schools, it's crazy. And I appreciate the questions, but we're missing a gamut of things that are taking place in our city. When you have single parent women pimping out their daughters just to get a fix, nobody's saying nothing about that. When you have a meth epidemic running rampant through our streets, nobody's saying nothing about that. When you have a highway that's a pipeline between Chicago, Kalamazoo, and Detroit that's flooding our cities with these drugs, nobody's saying nothing about that. We always want to talk about the things that are at hand. But there's a true narrative out there that everybody really needs to see. That if we don't start to build true community in Kalamazoo, all these issues will continue to keep happening.
Amen.
I couldn't agree more with Stefan on that. He's absolutely right that every single one of the things we talk about is based on underlying inequalities throughout the system. It's based upon a system of oppression that whether it's sexist, racist, LGBTQ, whether it's the environment, whether it's classist, that we have a system of oppression, and until we do something about that bigger system, it's going to be harder to deal with everything else. But on the point at hand is, how do we help protect students in schools without resorting to bringing police into those schools? And I think the very best thing that we can do from the city's perspective is support every single possible initiative to get licensed social workers in every single school. We do that, and we think about all the kids who are LGBTQ, how tough it is for them in our school system. Think about kids who are poor and the discrimination they face for not having what their classmates have. Think about the racial issues. A lot of the violence and the problems we have comes from a position of conflict that can be taken care of, can be moderated if we just have people to have someone there to help them. So, licensed social workers.
So, I'm a little embarrassed to admit that Esto and I did not really know each other very well before this campaign started. But now we have gotten to spend some time together, not just chit-chatting about the weather, but talking about things that we deeply care about. And I can tell you this, if you want to hear from someone who speaks from the heart every time they talk, look at this man right here. And I appreciate that. And that drives better things. And I think the point in my impression that he was making is that we got to do this together. This has got to be the whole community. We have to come together and support each other in this work. We can't be battling each other while we do this stuff. And if we don't all come together, we're not going to be successful. Well, what can the city do? Well, the kinds of things the city's already doing and going to do more. 1,000 young people participating in work and recreational programs in the city of Kalamazoo, supported by the Foundation for Excellence. That's a great thing we can do for young people in the summer. Our group violence intervention program, which was pushed by Isaac, which is adopted by the city of Kalamazoo, which is being particularly effective in trying to address that violence piece. The engagement we're doing between public safety officers and young people who've had multiple interactions with the criminal justice system. Building relationships, building community, heading off what can happen for young people if mistakes occur. That's the part the city can do. The city can partner with resources, work with the resources we have, support good partners like Momentum, and do this work together because that is what we all care about.
Any Martinez?
Yeah, I personally think there's two different views with the policing. You have, I can probably guess that the police weren't at 40 Northern or 42nd. They probably were at Kalamazoo Central or North. And those are more of an urban school. So usually the cops are called in situations because of a lot of, housing problems. Not housing like actual housing, but the parents not being involved. I don't think we're gonna get away from police culture. I think it's just gonna get worse. And it's just one of those things, the community can do everything they need. Eventually there'll be a police officer at most schools. You're not gonna stop mass shootings, you're not gonna stop this. It's weird because I don't even know a lot about guns, but my son plays Call of Duty and he can name 6,000 different guns and how to use them. And all these kids know how to do it. They'll tell you exactly what kind of gun, what kind of AR, and it has this many rounds and this and this and this. And all these games are teaching this stuff. And as long as that is what is in the household, it's not gonna change. I mean, the police are gonna be there. The urban, they're usually in the urban area, and then the police come to a mostly maybe a white school if there's a shooting or something. A lot of the urban kids aren't doing the mass shootings and stuff. So there's two different ball games there. But with the policing in the schools, I agree with the mental education, the needing psychiatrists, the license to prevent it, and someone to speak. And that is the biggest thing I think that can stop. I mean, these kids have to have somebody to talk to who they trust. And so I think that's the number one way of stopping any of the police. This is the end of it.